Sup everyone, welcome back to another video, and you might be wondering why do I have Eula on screen and why am I talking about Mika? It's not even out yet. However, thanks to the media server Peeps and Players, there are already like tons of videos on YouTube talking about Mika, his kit, and what can I say, man? Like I told you guys, because in this video I'm going to be telling you exactly everything you need to know about Mika, C0, C1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet for you guys because this character is exactly what most likely everyone thought he was going to be. Nothing. This character truly doesn't bring anything to the table that is of need. I think there's probably 5 different things I can think of right now at the top of my head that Genshin Impact really needs in terms of fleshing out certain team comms, playable reactions that needs desperate help, but instead we got Mika. Now, what does Mika exactly do? Surprise, surprise, Mika is a physical buffer that can heal you. Now, his healing is comparable to probably Dory at this point, as well as his physical buff really feels like it doesn't belong, right? And right now I have Eula on screen. You guys might think, well, Walrus, you know, like Eula really does need some help, right? Well, surprise again, right? Here's EroticWalruss with the double step back punch to the gut. He's not that good with Eula, right? And this comes back to the fact that, to be honest with you guys, Eula isn't a character. I keep saying this. I've said this so many times. Eula isn't a character that needs more damage. Eula doesn't need more damage. I don't think there's many people playing Eula right now. It's like, man, I wish my Eula can do 20% more damage with her burst skill. No. Right, and I mentioned this in a previous video, so I'm not gonna hammer this home again, but I told you guys, Mika most likely was never planned to be paired with Eula, which makes this video maybe a little more interesting than you initially thought, right? Because you thought I was just gonna dog on Mika. No. I think at this point we can lay him to rest. He sucks right now. At least right now, he's not a good character. He's essentially like a giga whale bait. He's even worse of a whale bait than previous like mono team dedicated support. Much worse than Faruzen, much worse than Goro, much worse than Sarah, and definitely much worse than Shinhe. But I guarantee you there's going to be people who see 6 Mika and they're going to be taking those damage for screenshots and posting them everywhere on Twitter. Be like, look at my Mika, it's OP. Sure, right? Just hope you guys don't fall for that. When it comes to Mika, if he is not designed for Eula, what does this mean for Genshin Impact? Well, the simple answer is there likely are plans that EroticWalruss has put in motion with Mika to develop other physical DPS characters. Now, a great example of a physical DPS character that could maybe utilize Mika's buffs is someone like, I know you guys are not going to like hearing this, but like physical Zhongli, physical Xiangling, that type of character can make better use of Mika's buffs. Someone who wants to sustain themselves on field for a much longer period of time, who can take advantage of Mika's buff duration. Because surprise, Eula, if she cuts off her burst early or gets off the field, she loses Mika's buff. Yeah, and regardless if you're gonna go get C0 Mika, C1, C2, or C6 Mika, currently he is just not a character that the game needs. What EroticWalruss is doing right now is yet again playing at the age-old trick of FOMO, right? You either pick him up now or you wait for him months down the line, potentially for a rerun. Thankfully, he's a 4-star character, so his reruns most likely will come faster. Maybe even in 2-3 patches, who knows? Because Eula isn't even being ran. And now, of course, people say like, Walrus, you just said he doesn't work with Eula. Then why would you say he's gonna rerun with Eula? I mean, they're running Mika with Ayaka, right? Like at this point, I wouldn't even be surprised if Mika reruns with Barbara and frickin' Tokole along with Dia in 3 months time. Who knows? But I'm just saying, Mika may come back sooner than you guys think. And this may also be indicative that Fontaine, likely EroticWalruss, has some sort of plans to maybe flesh out physical carries. Now, we still have fingers crossed for them fixing Crystallize, but it seems like physical carries or a new line of physical carries may be on the horizon. There are people right now, free-to-play players, who are likely thinking, should I be pivoting my playstyle through Mika? Should I be taking this gamble and seeing if it pays out down the line? And I'm going to give it to you straight. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. This is like when somebody has like $15 left in their bank account and be like, hey, what if I just buy the lottery ticket and what if I win? It's absurd for people to even consider the possibility of investing into Mika for a potential return down the line, because even if in the future, let's say the dedicated Mika character comes out, like, oh my goodness, this was the character that Mika was waiting for. Who do you think they're gonna run that banner with the new 5-star? Like, who? Like, just take a wild guess who's gonna be on that banner, right? Most likely Mika. That's what I'm saying. This character right now has absolutely no business existing. I'm pretty sure the whole community is just gonna dog on him and they're gonna forget about him for like the next 4 or 5 months potentially, until that one character shows up, and then people are gonna be like, oh, Mika is OP, I should have gotten Mika. But also, this is a clear reminder for players to stop thinking inside the box, right? When HoYoverse announced that Mika was a physical buffer, yet they didn't show Eula on the banner with Mika, a lot of people straight up said, HoYoverse is crazy. What are they thinking? Like, how can Eula not be on the banner? I don't get HoYoverse. And I was sitting there saying like, maybe that just means that Mika doesn't work with Eula. And even when I said that, people were like, Walrus, you're crazy. Like, that's absurd. How could, like, that's the only legitimate 5-star physical DPS in the game. How can you say Mika? That's like, what the hell is Mika supposed to be? And if you're newer to the game, and I know some of you guys watching are newer to the game, I keep having to tell people this because when they first come into Genshin Impact, people often don't understand how HoYoverse operates. HoYoverse is like 4 parallel dimensions ahead of the game. Like, I'm telling you guys right now, you can look at leaks, you can even freaking turn yourself into a fly and go into the boardroom meetings of HoYoverse. But I'm telling you, unless you're like Freddy Krueger, who's penetrating Dawe into his dream state when he's sleeping, you are likely not even close to fully understanding what the hell HoYoverse's game plan is. Like, these guys are so far ahead of us that currently they probably have 3-4 different things planned, and maybe only 1 or 2 of those things will come to fruition. That's how they seem like they always operate. There's a ton of things in the game right now that just don't work, and I don't know if they ever will work. Like, look at how many artifact sets in the game that are just utter doo-doo, like Lava Walker, right? Like Archaic Petra, right? Like Thunder Soother. A lot of people are like, oh, but Walrus, something. No, most of them have very scarce usage, if any. And most of those usages are like people trying to make a point as opposed to actually legitimately putting them to good use. This is my point with HoYoverse. They develop a lot of these things and oftentimes they just drop the ball on them. They just stop development. They don't care. They move on. I'm not saying Mika is one of them, and I'm not saying Physical is one of them. And of course, every video I've made in the past 3, people have been like, Walrus, talk about Shatter. Talk about Shatter. I'm just telling you right now, Shatter is likely one of those things that HoYoverse had some plans for in the early stages of development. It's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if like a Claymore character like smacks a frozen target and then it shatters, dealing more damage, right? Playing into the whole shatter mechanic, and like, oh, then physical carries can really take off with through shatter, like, oh, play it through freeze and then all double layered. But that is a very early example of multi-layered reaction system, right? Think of Dendro and then think of Freeze and Shatter. Dendro took what Freeze and Shatter could have been into the realms of holy smokes, what were the developers on when they developed this, because this is amazing, we want more of this. But Freeze and Shatter, questionable at best. HoYoverse likes to play around with these elements in the game when it's just, okay, let's try and see if this works. It could work, it could not work. Maybe some elements of it work and we're going to take bits and pieces of that and apply it to something new in the future. Because remember, they only need 1 or 2 hits per year to rake in billions, right? Is it billions nowadays? How much are they making with Genshin Impact? But my point is, they don't need bangers on every banner. They need to continue experiment, gather data from the players, right? Feedback from the players, play rate. They are using our metadata to continue to develop newer and more refreshing playstyles that will hook players in more. Who knows, maybe they are going to go back and develop Freeze and Shatter into something amazing, kind of like what they did with the Dendro system, right? But right now, Mika is at best a cute boy scout that people are just going to be like, oh, Mika's so cute, ha ha ha. Maybe some cosplayers are going to take advantage of this, or like get that funky hair going, and that's it. If you're going to sit there and tell me, Walrus, you're misunderstanding Mika, he has legitimate uses even right now in the Spiral Abyss at C0. He's already a great unit. You don't need to be so harsh on him. I'm going to say you're capping, right? Like, until I see you legitimately put him to the test and use him and showcase him, I don't see anybody really out there even capable in the media server of making this dude look legit at C0. He looks like someone forgot to tap in a couple extra zeros in parts of his kits. His buffs are, I mean, very situational, and his healing leaves much to be desired, right? This guy really is struggling, and I just can't bring myself to say, oh yeah, maybe get C1, C2, maybe C4 if you like playing Eula, because it doesn't work with Eula, right? So that's how I wanted to say, people, stay safe out there. I think it's safe to say this banner is not going to be very useful for most people. If you're going to be pulling for Ayaka, Shinhe, and then you get a couple copies of Mika here and there, congratulations, right? You likely are prepared for the future development of physical damage teams. But apart from those people, yeah, stay as far away from this banner as possible and look forward to next patch where Baiju is coming, right? Let's just focus back onto Dendro, because that's obviously Hoyoverse's current love child, and we'll see where it goes from there. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time, urge you to stay safe. Peace, peace. Bye bye.